There's a tail behind me.
Yeah.
It's Rory the cat. Oops, Rory, don't fall. Don't claw me as you fall. Oh, hi, everyone. Welcome to Flat Earth and Other Hot Cats. This is episode number 153 of The Secret Show. Well, no, it's of any show, but this is The Secret Show.
Secret
Rory threw me off because
we've done, I think, 38, 39 secret shows.
Yeah. By the way, is that a mug of tea you're holding?
Why, yes. How did you know?
I don't know. I just had a feeling. Maybe ESP or ESPN.
ESPN?
Yeah, exactly.
It's a mug of tea. It's an oversized mug that I threw with. And it's not normal tea. Like you'd probably drink if you drink tea, like Earl Grey.
Yeah, I have green tea or matcha tea. I like
I'm one of those guys that people, real tea drinkers, anyone in Britain is going to just cringe when I say this.
I know it already because when I visited you, you had it. I think it's sleepy time tea, right?
No.
Something like that.
What I prefer more than anything is the instant Nestea mix hot.
Okay.
So it's like
our show is over.
Yeah, I know. Right? People listen to that and go, "Oh, that sounds horrible." No. It's what it is. It's Southern sweet tea. If you've been in the South,
I am.
Where you because you can physics, you can dissolve more sugar into water when it's boiling, right? So I take boiling water and I dissolve instant like Lipton or Nestea iced tea mix. Right now I'm using some Canadian blend, and it's very sweet and sugary. And I don't know how much caffeine's in it. Why am I talking fast? Are we doing?
You know why I thought it was sleepy time? Because I think that somebody sent you. Sleepy time tea, and maybe that's what stuck in my mind. And it was around your house around then.
Oh, I'll drink that tea with a lot of sugar. Mm-hmm. But yeah, when I was in Boulder, the Celestial Seasonings factory literally was, I think, 8 miles north of me. People come to Boulder just. women who like knitting and stuff, they would just be jammed. I mean, the tours would be sold out all the time. And it wasn't even a long tour, and the factory is not that big.
From where you were in Colorado to where the tea place was 8 miles, you say. That's roughly exactly how far we've drilled down. Isn't that weird?
That is weird. There's a connection there somewhere.
Yeah, there is. Well, when you drive 8 miles, wait, we have an echo. What is that?
Do we? Yeah. Is it me? Should I switch to headphones?
Yeah, I think. Do you usually wear headphones when we're out?
No, I don't.
You used to.
Do you hear an echo?
I did.
Do you still hear an echo now? Is it me when I'm talking?
No, now we're good. Kind of.
All right, because I'll switch to these if you need to.
All right.
I haven't. Usually it's pretty good though. This microphone, you know how it works. It'll sync up and usually it's fine. Did I tell you, by the way, that there was on the show, I don't know if you listened to the show last night, but there was a woman, a regular listener who calls in from North Carolina, and either the North Carolina It's Flat license plate was taken. So you know what she got?
What?
NASA lies.
Oh, okay. That's fantastic.
And I was going, okay, one, how did you pull that off? Because any licensing department, you have to nowadays, it varies from state to state, but you usually have to say, okay, this is what I want, and below, because it's always slang or abbreviation for something, they say, what does it mean? Because that way you can't get a license plate and say, I kill you. You can't say that. Or kaboom.
Right.
Or
you probably could if you explained it like, well, that's my husband's nickname for me. Kaboom.
Well, you know what I mean. You can't put things like CIA space SUX. You can't do that because people are, that's anti-government. But apparently with 8 letters, NASA lies. They must have missed it. Because the first 5 letters, NASA lies, spells nasal.
Oh,
so
nasalize.
Maybe they thought it was like a
Your nose and throat doctor.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought. A nose and throat doctor. Right. Because doctors will get vanity plates. They're not shy about getting vanity plates.
Well, we haven't talked much about flat Earth yet, so maybe we should start before we get hammered. What do you think?
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. The reason why I brought that up was because when we came back on the air, because last night was show 99 for me, and she didn't even blink. She goes, I got 99 problems, but a globe ain't one.
Oh, that's so good.
I know, it was really good. So.
Well, let me go into chat and say hello to all and see what's shaken in the live show. And if you're watching this at a later time, if you ever want to join the live chat, just go and subscribe to the channel. Click the little bell icon, and you will be notified when there's a video. And also, if you follow me on Google Plus, then you get an invitation to the show. So that's the live chat. Just if you want to find anybody's live chat, just go into YouTube and put Flat Earth, and then set the little selector to live, and then you'll see all the different live shows. At this moment in time, though, this is the best live show. Hello to Ginger Sugarbush, John Ramaglia. Oh, and Carly Sunshine saying, a beautiful flower in my hair. Yeah, I'm bringing in the springtime. No, it is not. It is a flower made of fabric on a metal clip.
The fact that you own one of those
is
really
weird.
No, it's not weird. It's just that it's fitting, because you're one of the only people, the only person I know that would actually have. Does not surprise me.
I'm not afraid to wear things that might be considered bizarre. Joe Friday says hello. And on a plane is here. Adam Bailey as well, who says you're drinking GMO tea.
I don't really buy organic anything. I'm sorry to say.
So I make up for it, because that's pretty much all I buy.
Yeah.
CIA, that's a new person in our chat, but they're spelling it SEE, the letter I, and EH.
EH, CIA,
CIA, like that.
Why don't you do CIC?
The channel's already
SEIAY.
We can't change what's already been done, Mark.
No, I'm just saying that'd be better, because otherwise you go CIA.
CIA. Hello to X Stranger XX, Flat Magic, Christopher Brady, Bob from Glowbusters, Shane Corning, Daryl Croswell, Andres, Knowledge Scavenger. Hello, Paula. I don't want to just say Knowledge Scavenger's name without saying her name as well. I don't know why. That's how I do it. Zulu One is here. Hey, Zulu One. P. Paula says we didn't have an echo. And did I say Validation Boy? Maybe I did. Maybe I didn't. Ute Hube is here. John Fulton as well is here. A.E. Solonius. Bobby J., who's also watching the ISS live stream at the same time. He said it's like polar opposites. They cancel each other out, really. Watch this show in the ISS live stream, and actually it'll turn into a blank screen on both. Justin Cabell is here. And Gordzilla 37, good name. Brap Allgood here. And Brap just said, someone sure looks lovely today. So Mark, Brap appreciates your look today.
Hi. I'm so embarrassed.
I know.
I just threw this on.
It's just this old thing in the back of your closet. Jerry Cthulhu is here. Let's see who else. A bunch of other people. Hello, everybody. I could continue going on. The thing about reading live chat is I love when people read my name when I'm in a live chat. And so I hope that those who are in the live chat like it as well. But, maybe it's boring for someone who's watching this at a later date. So that's why you need to join the live chat. Stock Jockey is here. Belinda Verges, Realm to 9, and Flat Earth Dave. Lots of new people are here that I've not seen before. The Awakening is here. And we'll go back in a chat and talk later. SELMAN is here. Helios Skeptic is here. Bad Times for Boro. 1221 and Freight Train is here. Somebody just said go cats. My cats literally are running. They're running like as a team of 3 back and forth and up and down the house. So that could
People got to know that if you get more than one cat, that's when the trouble starts. Yeah. Cats are actually not that bad on their own.
I know.
When you get 2 of them, what happens is when they try to get away from each other, it doesn't matter what obstacles are there. Those things are going to get knocked down.
I know. I've had many things broken, and but not my heart. That's all that matters.
There's a song in that somewhere.
There is. It's a country song, I think.
Tune up my guitar.
Hey, check this out. My jukebox is bumming me out. Look, see on one side how the light's out on the top domey looking arc thing?
Oh, it's not. When you get replacements, ask for an LED replacement.
It might change the look of the colors. I bought a replacement for it. Put it in myself, which took forever. No, they're what do you call that? Fluorescent. Bought a bulb online, sent to me, put it in. I had to take a bunch of different screws out, and it was so annoying. put it in, worked for a while, then poof, out again. So, but I've moved it so you can only see half of it. So I could have not told you the secret.
Well, I wouldn't have noticed right away. I mean, it's a pretty jukebox on its own, regardless of how many lights are on it.
It is.
But,
yep. I think it's 73.
Did you see the hangout I was just on?
With Nathan Oakley. With Nathan Oakley, I was listening to it while I was getting ready. I wasn't watching. So tell me all about it.
Tim Osmond finally showed.
Infinite Plane Society, who said he was new when he went to the council meeting, which was pretty funny. And you were on.
That's so weird that he would go to the Albuquerque City Council meeting to talk about fake space and money spent on NASA that should be, that might as well be a Hollywood production. Of course, they had no idea. I've been to city council meetings. They were probably just completely vegged out going, and it was like a mind grenade type thing where after he's gone, maybe as they're driving home, they're like going,
what just happened?
It's okay. Same, but now he's on camera. So why isn't he on camera now for other things? I mean, he put himself on camera.
Yeah, and he looks fine too. And he's been on camera as well. He was on camera the other day. I saw him.
Oh.
What channel? Blanking out on that right now. So.
He's got a little bit of a following. I mean, he's got.
Yes, he's growing.
He gets 300 followers, and he 3 hours in a hangout, just him talking to chat.
And he's a very intelligent person. A lot of people don't agree with his viewpoints or all of his viewpoints, but frankly, who agrees with all of anyone's viewpoints?
Yeah, nobody is going to. Again, you know this full well. When it comes to YouTube, I could make videos, and I'm not exaggerating when I say this. The T-shirt should read, or it was the saying, which is, I used to. If you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all. But the revised version is, if you can't say something nice, you're probably on the YouTube forums.
Yes.
Because I could make a freaking video about a polar bear cub chasing butterflies through a meadow, right? With the most benign, flowery music, and I'm still going to, get a handful of haters. They're going to thumb it down and put in comments. In fact, right off the bat, they'll say, polar bears suck ass.
Or like, that polar bear's overweight.
Exactly. It's like stupid.
The polar bear's a tranny.
A butterfly killed my grandmother. Whatever. Whatever they're going to say. The point is, you can't please everybody. And so, the fact that he's putting himself out there, great. It wouldn't be that much different if I was talking to chat.
I think that he is bringing up a lot of interesting things.
Yeah.
A lot of people have issues with his dismissal of all people's religious beliefs. I see the point with that being disappointing to many people who've found renewed their religious faith or found it or something due to flat earth. But you know what? That's his channel. That's his view. And that's his right to express it on his channel. So, hey.
Interesting that he used that, that he lied to get into the Masons, because during your very brief interview, when you're trying to get into the Masons, they ask you, do you believe in a God? Doesn't matter who you believe in, as long as you believe in something. And he lied, and he said, "No, yeah, I do," but he didn't. Yeah. So,
Paula Knowledge Scavenger says, "Not all religions, one religion." So it would be Christianity that he speaks of.
Well, I mean, that's because we're in the States, though.
Yeah, I don't really know if he thinks other religions are fine. I think I'm just theorizing here, that I think he just thinks all of them are brainwashing us.
Right.
So everyone can pick and choose what they wish to watch. And I had a problem with him from the very beginning, which was because he used my face and my video and put under it Patricia and spelled the last 3 letters, CIA, in all caps, to get attention to his channel earlier on as clickbait. And, I didn't think that was very cool, but people do it. And I think he's actually changed it, or I couldn't find it last time I looked. So, hey.
I'm flattered that he went to the city council meeting and used my name. Flattered.
I think it's fantastic. I'm flattered that he used my name as a clickbait title with the capitalization of CIA as well. I mean, okay.
If it turned, by the way, I'm a little scared if it turns into a T-shirt, the whole Fight Club thing, which I'm ashamed that I forgot that part. The Robert Paulson thing, where it's like, we're all Mark Sargent.
We're all Mark Sargent.
Oh my God. If that turns into a T-shirt, I'm going to be so worried.
In fact, when we were going to open the show, that was what I was going to say is I'm Mark Sargent as a sort of inside joke. But then Rory the cat was climbing and digging into my arm and I got distracted. So yeah.
You know, as much as, because I've watched Fight Club a number of times, I forgot Robert Paulson. There's some things you blank out of certain movies, and I forgot that Robert Paulson, played by Meatloaf, by the way. And yeah,
2 out of 3 ain't bad.
But yeah. But yeah, I forgot the Robert Paulson reference. We're all Robert Paulson.
Huh.
Wow. Anyway.
Yes. Okay, so what else has been going on? I mean, you've done a bunch of stuff lately, mister.
I've been, yeah.
You've been busy.
There's been, yeah. Let me look real quick at my, I'm having actually a hard time keeping track of the videos I've been doing because there's just a lot of them. But since the last week, one sec.
Carly Sunshine says, I'm Mark Sargent.
Thank you, Carly. It's awesome.
John Bolton says, I am the real Mark Sargent.
a couple things. So when was our last show? Today's the 5th. So the last one was on the 30th something. So we covered the Jeopardy thing and the coffee tables.
Yes.
Okay, a couple things. One, the Colorado meetup apparently is now weekly. And remember I said that anybody that wants to do a meetup, if you want me to advertise on my channel, just give me the details. I'd love it if you could actually make a video, and then I can just throw it on my channel. But if not, no big deal. I can whip up a quick template with some pictures of whatever state you're talking about. That's what the Colorado people did. And they're meeting every week, and they had like a dozen people the first gathering, and they're going to keep doing it.
That's good.
So the more people meet up, the better. So real happy about that. So if you see, for at least the near future, I'm going to be doing trailers for the Colorado meetup. You'll see it every week, and
that's
it's
really good.
Yeah. So every Monday, I think. The Australian radio station. Did we catch that?
Yes, we spoke of it. See, I get confused as to what we speak of off air and what show we did.
So it takes a while, even though social media is very, very quick, it takes a while for some stories to filter out from the United States into other countries like Australia. So somebody, again, nothing gets missed in the hive mind. Somebody down in Australia was listening on her radio, on her boombox, heard her radio station talking about Shaquille O'Neal. She takes her phone, just starts filming it. Right, then sends it to me, second generation. I go, okay, find me the radio station in Australia. And it turns out she did, and I found it and I got it ripped. And so I made a video on that, and that was kind of fun. It was about 3 minutes long, but yeah, it's everywhere. The license plate compilation, I think I put that out just after the show, or just before the show, this week or last week, whatever. So the compilation, you probably saw that. Lots of fun new plates. We've got at least half of the United States and pushing half of the Canadian provinces. Australia also can do vanity plates. Nothing in Europe yet.
I think Europe doesn't. In England, I don't think they have. Maybe they do.
It's really an American thing. I mean, that's why they call it vanity plates.
Because Americans are vain?
Yes.
Americans.
Well, yeah. The thing is, we don't even call them vanity plates anymore.
No,
they used to. But now they're called personalized plates.
Well, it makes it better when it's a personalized plate. Vanity plate sounds like you're going to put a plate that says, I'm a stud or I'm a babe or something.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's all anyone would do. Anyone would put a plate back in the day, you know, like Dr. Cool or I Rock, you know, all sorts of people. That's all it was. It was all. But now people have gotten clever because especially nowadays with all the texting, you can do I remember some years ago, it was one of the longest I saw, even though it was 7 letters, which was ILBCNYA. I'll be seeing you.
Oh, that's kind of creative.
That's really long, and you can read it. You know, it's like you're looking at it, but it's kind of fun. Did we cover the plane tracking software?
Yes, we did. I want to say hello to Four Eyes 2C as well.
How about Good Mythical Morning?
Felix, I am. Yes, did we talk about that? No,
I don't think we did.
I saw the video.
Every channel that has over 100,000 subscribers, chances are I'm gonna make a video about it.
Right.
They come online.
And they all touch flat Earth in one way or the other. Most of the time, making fun of it.
Yeah.
But, when you see those videos, go in and comment. That's what I try to do.
Yeah. any publicity is good publicity. So when Philip DeFranco comes out, 5 million subscribers, and talks about, at length about the Shaquille O'Neal thing with little graphics and talking about Tila Tequila and B.O.B., fantastic, great. When Good Mythical Morning comes out, and he didn't copyright me. Now, granted, I mirrored it, so it's really interesting. Some people are really finicky. They've got the settings completely cranked down to even if you mirror image it and put text on the screen, they'll still smack you. Not copyright strike you, but they'll say, no, blocked, muted, banned.
Banned in Germany.
Yeah, banned in another country. Well, no, I don't get the country stuff. Usually it's global now. I'm sorry, worldwide.
Global.
Global. No, worldwide. But Good Mythical Morning, which has multiple channels, they were interesting. Now they did it on the March 31st, not an accident, because that way they could read the. In fact, I was waiting for the responses. Somebody should follow up on that and see if they actually did the responses the next day. Because at the very end of the show, I was on a Friday. On the 31st, they said, text anyone you know, why is the earth flat? And when you watched it, I don't know if you actually watched their video when they got to that point, they didn't even break a sweat when they did it. This is the same guys that were like, oh, flat earth's ridiculous. So why are they, now granted it was for April Fools, but they didn't make it seem like it was a joke. So I wonder what the follow-up was. And I've been kind of waiting because that was 5-6 days ago. Wonder what happened there. But the point was I put it up. Initially, I put their video clip and it was muted immediately, blocked because it's owned by a company that, they're a pretty big brand. I mean, hell, those guys have been with Jimmy Fallon on The Tonight Show.
Right.
So that was kind of fun.
But guess what? Flat Earth got a mention.
Flat Earth got a mention. Sure. Why the heck not? In fact, I'm going to do an article. I don't know if I'll do it today or if maybe I'll do it today, where Sports Illustrated ran a great article called, if I can find it real fast, Kathy Dunson from Secrets Revealed with Zen Garcia sent it to me. It's from SI.com, Extra Mustard, which is interesting because Sports Illustrated has one called Extra Mustard, and the Boston show I was on was called Extra Sauce.
Interesting.
Multiple condiment shows.
I don't like ketchup, so I'm all for both shows as long as ketchup is not mentioned.
This article was called, and you can look it up on Sports Illustrated, but I'm thinking of reading it. It's called Why Athletes Are Drawn to the Flat Earth Theory.
Because of balls? I mean, what is their reason?
Oh.
Well,
really? Did you want to say it like that? Really?
Everyone knows what I mean. Or do they?
Do they? Really? Because that's going to be turned into a soundbite, probably.
No.
Why? Because of balls. Nice. No. Well, again, the article goes into belief systems but it wasn't really derogatory. So I'll probably read that one. That'll be kind of fun. Oh, sorry. I was back to I'm doing another conference trailer, and then we did Into the Paranormal. Oh, okay. So
right, that's what we really need to talk about. You just did.
Talk about anticlimactic. So into last year, David, can I say his name?
DITRH.
DITRH.
If you don't know his name, then ask someone else.
DITRH and I were supposed to debate Richard Hoagland and Mark D'Antonio on Dark 30 Radio. The show is called Paranormal, but it's on Dark 30 Radio. Mm-hmm. And they contacted me a little while ago and said, oh, I had no idea it's gotten this huge, like anything, people that forgot about you. It's like, oh, it's not going to go anywhere. Then all of a sudden celebrities are talking about flat earth. It's like, wait, didn't I do a flat earth show?
How could somebody that's dealing with the paranormal, and I know flat earth's not the paranormal, but it is not of the norm. How could anybody who is involved in a radio station like that not keep track of something like flat earth's explosion?
Because you push it out of your mind. It's so out there that you block it out. I mean, think about you and me. We didn't look at it for most of our lives. Didn't even look. Yeah. You go years.
But when someone talked about it, I looked.
Yeah, well, sort of like Coast to Coast. Coast to Coast. They were one of the few people that say, we actually did a flat earth show back in 2015. Yeah, just blind luck that your producer called. Anyway, the point was they called me up and they said, okay, let's do another show with you and DITRH versus some people. Fine, great. A month later, okay, we can't find anyone to go up against you. No scientist is willing to put themselves out there. And probably, if you listen to the rerun from last year, it was horrible.
Well, as the devil's advocate, which I often play,
Yeah.
some people have said that the reason that no scientist will go up against you is not because they don't have enough material to beat you down. It's because they just think it's stupid. So they won't even bother wasting their time.
Yes, that is true. Although nowadays, with all the articles that have come out, you'd think they'd have some sort of vested interest in going against it, because look, we're dumbing down your children right now as we speak.
Exactly.
You're getting dumber by the second. You're gonna start eating dirt soon. Anyway, that's me being all hasty. So
the dirt. There's people who eat dirt. There's these people.
Well, kids eat dirt.
No, but there's people who develop a strange obsession and start eating something really bizarre, like paper, dirt, rubber bands. Seriously.
Ugh.
It happens.
Okay, so you remember what happened last year. Richard Hoagland was supposed to be 2-on-2. DITRH and me versus Richard Hoagland and Mark D'Antonio. Who's Mark D'Antonio? He is a photographer that works for MUFON and general jackass. So Richard Hoagland backs out. In fact, he was a no-show. Didn't call, didn't text. It's like, you never write, you never call. He didn't do any of these things. He just completely bailed. And so now it's 1-on-2. And so they say, oh, we can't do 1-on-2. So we're going to do 1-on-1 and do a tag team, sort of like a cage match, where I'd go after against Mark D'Antonio and then DITRH would, and we'd switch off to where my mic wouldn't even be on. And Mark D'Antonio quits at the second commercial break. He couldn't take it anymore because we were just body blowing him. And he had nowhere, because he tried to sleepwalk into it. And he was doing it from what sounded like a sports bar. It's like, put the laptop in the hotel room and talk to us. Then if you're going to go against flat earth, you better be prepared. The warning I'm putting out to every scientist, you better do your homework before you do that. So they bring in Brian Dunning. Remember him?
Yes, of course.
Brian Dunning, who's actually good. He sounds good. He's eloquent. He's calm. And he and I developed some sort of rapport until I figured out what his backstory was. Because it's like, wait, because people were saying to me, it's like, why are you talking to him? I go, well, I don't know why. He ran a debunking site at some point. I'm going, dude, he just got out of prison. It's like, why did he get out of prison? For fraud? It's like, what? Okay, what did he do? Well, apparently he was a subcontractor for eBay, and he embezzled millions from them. And pled guilty and went to prison. And I don't know if he kept the money or whatever, but like he delayed it as long. One of those white collar things where you're going to prison. Even if you admit it.
My question is he back on eBay? Who should we avoid when we buy eBay?
Well, I don't know. I don't know the details. But the point is, we'll never be able to talk to him again because his credibility is shot to hell. Anyway, the point is, we couldn't even get those guys. Mark D'Antonio, no. Brian didn't know. Couldn't get anybody. So they called me and they said, how would you like to go on with DITRH and take hostile calls? That was really that was their pitch.
It sounded fun to me, the concept.
Sure. Why not? Why wouldn't I do it? It's like, at this point, I've taken so many friendly calls. I'd love to get some people that will come after me. I mean, pats on the back are great, but we've got to, it helps us more if we debate people, because that way it'll shut down some of those out there.
Right. It's not for the person that you're debating to try to convince them as much. It's for the audience who's listening, or even when you're doing it on Facebook or wherever, for those who are reading it.
Here's how I interpreted what happened that night. So we got the host, Jeremy, can't remember his last name. But Jeremy was talking to us, and he read us questions, and we, David and I just went back and forth and back and forth.
You guys were so good.
Oh,
what a great team, dream team right there.
Well, we were revving up. David and I, I'm sorry, DITRH and I, we rev each other up, and so we'll just go back and forth because we've done this enough anyway that it wasn't even we had all our stuff down, but we were generating enough momentum that I believe that the climate has shifted now to where if you're going to call in, you've got that anger, that frustration, but it's not enough anymore. You don't call, nobody's calling in now and saying, flat earth's dumb, it's stupid, you should just not breed and stuff, crap like that. Those seem to have been pushed off, and now people are coming in with arguing. The thing that's, well, it's hotly debated. First it's ridiculed, then it's debated, then it's accepted. That's where we are, but no one would go up against us. No one would call in. It's a call-in show. And they were asking people, and yeah, they had people in the chat room that were throwing a few questions, and David was monitoring that on the side. Nothing really good. So we went through the full freaking 2 hours. And granted, it was at least an hour of commercials. This guy's had way too many commercials. But we didn't. There, not a single person came up against us. Not even a call that dropped. I mean, literally, the phone did not ring. And I think it was because you can say, well, it was a crappy show. No. I've been on crappy shows, and people still call. In this case, I think they didn't know what to do. They were taken back enough by it. We were rattling enough info fast that we were shutting down the calls before they could get to us.
And it was good. It was a lot of information. Yeah. It was fun, and it was lighthearted and it was not doomy and gloomy. And it was great, except the end where the host had maybe 1 minute to fill and couldn't speak about flat Earth in that 1 minute. He started talking about some other weird thing like spiders biting you or
whatever.
Very weird. But you two were fantastic. And I think a lot of people listening learned something that night.
I thought so. I thought I was, and what I didn't know was, you know what? I'm going to change my thought on that.
Okay.
I'm editing my own thing. So the next thing we got into, and I'm encouraging people to do this on your show, which is, if you want to have some fun, if you're bored, try to do it sober. But if you've been drinking, that's fine too.
Oh no, what is this?
Up Free Talk Radio and torment them, because they record all this stuff and they put it on YouTube. They do like a daily show and they do it for hours, and they accept calls. And I don't know if it's toll free, but call in, and because we've had, in fact, I just released one today. So that's what, four different shows that, because they're not giving in yet. Call in and just hammer them.
So they record it and then they play it back as a montage, or
no. They record. They do the audio. They have a podcast, but they record all of them. They have cameras running in the radio booth, and then they put that on YouTube. And so people now will call in and they'll say, "Oh yeah, by the way, I was the caller for 12 minutes during hour 2." I go, "Oh great!" So I grab the video, I splice it, I throw it up on there, and I say, like this one: Flat Earth caller grabs hold of Free Talk Radio, does not let go. This one guy, Flat Earther, he was on there talking to them for 20 minutes. 21 minutes.
All right, Free Talk Radio, look it up. And
Free Talk Radio, torture those guys. Just call in and say, "I believe in Flat Earth. What are you going to do about it?" And
I want to look in chat, and I saw DITRH says all calls are toll free. Somebody named Mariah, hi Mariah, I remember you from before, says, "Who wants to apply for NASA jobs and then go investigate?" That's an interesting concept. I mean, you'd have to really devote yourself to going through the process, getting the job, and then, sneaking around. But that would make a good movie, actually.
Well, all the civilian stuff about applying to NASA, that's a bunch of crap. No one's getting in. If you actually want to work for NASA, you've got to join the Air Force. That's how it goes. Everyone.
So if you want to help Flat Earth, join the Air Force.
Well, yeah, I don't recommend that people get that dedicated when doing this. Also, let's see. I did Jaron's show. Jaron Ism Raw.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Did that with Jaron. That was
very
wonderful
fun and pleasant. It can be heard on Truth Frequency Radio still. Under
Yep. And I put that up. They have a 3-hour show, but they brought me in for the back 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And it's fun. I always like talking to those two, because it's like, when you just talk back and forth. When you've worked with people before, the community's got enough rapport that, like you and I, just keep talking. And it's really great. The community, there's very little awkwardness.
No, it's true.
I mean, yeah, you can get those hangouts that go for 9 hours, but that's just fatigue more than anything.
Mm-hmm.
Where you're like 7 people and they're all dead tired and they're going, so. Yeah,
I like tacos.
Yeah, right. Come on. But so my mother calls me from the States, and she says, "By the way," she goes, "I don't know if anyone's told you, but I found a Flat Earth reference." And I go, "What?" And she goes, "Chicago Justice." And she goes, "It's a new show I'm watching." I'm going, and she goes, "Episode 7." She's going, they mentioned Flat Earth. She goes, "They mentioned it twice during the same episode. It's a brand new show." And did you see the one I put up where Carl Weathers?
Yes.
Yeah. Go for it. I'm a Carl Weathers fan. He he has a house in Clinton, which is on the very south end of Whidbey Island.
Mm-hmm.
When I worked as a sous chef at Cafe Langley, he would come in and the owners would be like, "Oh, give him the window seat," and they'd fawn all over him. But the point is it was brought up twice in the show, and she had scooped everybody. And but how many people are watching that show? I mean, because that's mainstream network television,
right?
And but again, so I clipped it out and reverse imaged it. And even though I reverse imaged it, they still are copywriting it under or whatever network that is.
Well, those little references, they just flip by, and most people don't notice them, but they may have a subliminal effect. So when those people hear about Flat Earth later, it'll sound familiar, and maybe then it'll get them to investigate.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, you heard the reference. It was really interesting where he was very specific. He goes, no, not that you'd think I was crazy. You'd call me a flat earther. It was very decisive. You know, that line that he said. They're trying to, well, sort of. The very least, they're adding it into our vocabulary. Mm-hmm. Flat Earth is now a thing from a literary standpoint. It's now a replacement for it's a synonym for crazy now. All things crazy. But it's extreme crazy, not just average crazy.
There's only a few flat earthers that I have found to be crazy. I mean,
do you want to name them?
Crazy? No one needs me to name them.
Do I know them?
Yeah, not personally.
No, probably.
Hey, I want to say hi to Joey, Sylvie, and Arwin as well. Trisha is here. Curious Jay is here. And let's see, Thor Foams as well. And there's something here. Nathan Oakley says that what we were talking about is network mainstream TV. Who's watching that? Well, none of us.
However, not a lot.
They who have not yet found out about Flat Earth. So I guess it's good.
Allow me to interrupt real quick, which is the guy that was hosting the event in the meetup in Colorado. He mentions, he goes, you know what everybody had in common up there? Nobody watched television.
Mm-hmm. It is true.
Mainstream television. And that sounds about right. I mean, I haven't watched straight up network television in a long time. You know, no, I'll watch stuff on Netflix every once in a while just to catch up on certain things, but most of the time it's YouTube. But the fact that all those people watch, so yeah, things like that are gonna get missed. But in the short term, but I think eventually we're all gonna find them.
Right. And there are people who still watch them because they're in the room when one of their family members is watching it. They're not into TV anymore, but maybe their mother or their wife or husband is. So they catch it and then send it along to one of us flat earthers, mostly you. Jose Valdez says, Mark Sargent, I just got my license plates. It's flat, ITZ,
Well, what state? What state? Somebody tell me.
Hey, tell us what state you're in.
Well, yeah, in fact, I don't know. ITZ is probably brand new because I haven't seen it.
ITZ, That's a good one. So let us know what state you're in.
It's flat.
Send it to Mark at msargent23@comcast.net. Take a picture of it.
Sounds vaguely Hispanic.
Israel
I'm not being racist when I say that, by the way.
I know. Because the name Jose, well, I mean, yeah.
No, just because of the pronunciation. It's flat.
Oh, I thought you meant his name. That's funny. Let's see. Stock Jockey says California, but I don't know if he's talking about something else.
Maybe it's California.
Yeah. Did I say hello to Zoe of Be Here in Love? I don't know, but now I have. Perrin is here. It's Perrin Greenway, I believe. Israel Adams says he likes the flower in the hair, but he's wishing for fighter braids. He's always encouraged me to do fighter braids. You know what fighter braids are? I had to look it up.
You mean like women cage fighting braids?
Yes, really close to the scalp. That would hurt.
That's a little harsh.
It is a bit harsh.
I don't know if I do that.
Yeah, I don't know. FPV Angel is here. Says that SpaceX is worse than a cheap B movie, which is so true. I got in a little discussion on Facebook with somebody today. I generally don't fight, ever. I'm just not a fighter. But sometimes people will come into my comment section on YouTube, and I will, I won't say anything to them first, ever. But if they say something really weird to me, sometimes I'll say something back. Nothing profane, and always with elegance and dignity, but something that's like, zing. But this was a person who was talking about, the Earth being a globe and SpaceX being real. And it became quite a big post on my Facebook
Hmm.
with a lot of flat earthers coming in, and I walk away and I come back and there's 150 comments on it, and people that are in there saying, oh, no, 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 it's a globe and SpaceX is going to be doing this and NASA is going to be doing that and people are going to be slingshotting around the moon. I put a link for them, like that very short ODD video that he has. I think it's called Flat Earth in 5 Minutes. Is that the name of it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's one of them.
It's a really good one because it's short, because a lot of people who are very globe oriented don't have time or the patience to listen to something long. They want it quick.
True.
Microwave quick. And I put that there and he doesn't even look at it. He just keeps on going on, pounding away with his stuff about space. So some people you just can't reach and you have to let them go.
Do you know my knee-jerk reaction now to people that say, oh, well, NASA's going to do this and SpaceX is going to, they're already planning these things. I was going, yeah, like the hydrogen fuel cell car was going to be a big thing. Remember that? Does anyone remember the hydrogen fuel cell car? No, yeah, it's because it's not a thing anymore. But if you ever watch the movie, the documentary, I highly recommend.
Whatever happened to the electric car? Is that the one?
Yeah, it's called Who Killed the Electric Car?
Who Killed the Electric Car? Yes.
The Ford EV1, which was it was way ahead of its time when it came, the Prius, Ford EV1. But the thing was, they only leased them. And they did a test market in California, and a lot of Hollywood celebrities were really into this, and they bought this car. It's like, oh, environmental, blah blah blah. But here's what happened: I lost my train of thought. They were gonna kill it eventually, and because the petroleum industry didn't want the EV1 because they couldn't control the power supply. They don't own the electric companies. The petroleum industry owns oil, but they don't own all the power plants. And they weren't about to go on a bidding war and buy every hydroelectric dam in the country, right? So they came up with their idea. It's like, what can we control? Well, we controlled the production of hydrogen. All right. So they were just, let's make basically a propane car that runs on hydrogen instead of propane, right? But there were two really big problems. One was range, because you can only compress hydrogen so far for an engine. And the second thing was that I completely forgot what it was. Second, that doesn't work in cold weather.
Oh, that's not good.
So what are you going to do in Minnesota and Wisconsin? I know basically everything north of the top half states of the United States, it wasn't going to work. The problem was they kept kicking that can down the road and saying, oh, we'll fix this soon. And the documentary said it was this running joke that it's always going to be done 15 years from now. But if you went 5 years later, it's like, oh yeah, 15 years from now we'll do it. They just kept kicking the can down.
People have a short memory. They don't really realize this has happened. They don't really realize in our lifetime, I think that they might have said they've discovered water on Mars a couple of times.
Oh yeah. Well, look this up. Supposedly there have been 48 attempted missions to Mars by different space groups around the world.
Didn't some space group say they landed on the sun? Didn't that happen already?
Oh yeah. We sent a probe to the sun to save the Earth from dangerous solar radiation.
Ooh, okay.
Right. The point is that people say, oh no, NASA's going to do this and SpaceX is going to do this. No. They've been saying this.
This is what NASA and SpaceX are going to be doing. 1,000, 1,002, 1,003, multiple times. That's all they do is just count the money. I don't know what they're doing with it.
All they do is they tell you what they're going to do, which is why the SpaceX promise for next year. And let's not forget the Google X challenge is happening right now. That's, we've got not even 8 months left before that thing ends. And that's 5 different probes from 5 different agencies: the Americans, the Israelis, the Indian, European, and Japanese.
It's going to be, I've already said this, my prediction: Israel and the US are going to be the final ones. No one will make it, but they really won't.
No.
What do you think? Will it be those countries or something else?
Israel and the Americans?
Yes. Do you agree that who?
That sounds about right. Sure, why not? 3, one will blow up in the pad, one will blow up as it's leaving orbit. This is reported. One will blow up in transit, 2 will land, only 1 will bring back pictures.
Right, and it'll be really horribly distorted and
horrible, awful pictures, and it's gonna be terrible. And it's for the $20 million prize. And it's like, all you have to do is land in the Sea of Tranquility. That's all you have to do, and show a picture of the capsules that are still there and the moon cars. My point is this, is that, look, there's a reason why we had a big boom of space shows in the late 70s. And because the media industry, the Hollywood and all the world media industries were anticipating it was going to happen. The future was coming. The future that you and I grew up with. It's like the Jetsons cars. Mm-hmm. Everyone thought that eventually, Space 1999, the television show that ran for a couple of years, based out of Britain, starring Martin Landau and Barbara Bain and others. It was supposed to be, that wasn't necessarily a fictional show. That was supposed to be a moon base, and we had the tech, and it was only a matter of time.
And 1999 at that time was in the future.
It was a show in the mid 70s about 1999 about how we had set up a colony on the moon. That was the timetable. Never happened. Never even came close. In fact, I sent you that Russian thing, but my point was the Russian space propaganda poster. And the reason why I sent this to you, I'm probably going to use that as a thumbnail for something, because I've already using it. What?
Use it for this show on your channel, maybe.
No, I'm already using the light domey thing, the one the listeners meant. But the point is you guys can look this up: Russian propaganda space posters. The reason why I wanted to show this, and I put it in my slides for all the things I'm doing now, it's going to be a permanent slide, is that when the Americans got to the moon, it wasn't a winner-take-all scenario. Look, the space race was called a space race for a reason. It wasn't like when the Americans got there, everything was going to end. It was the Americans got 2 people on the moon. Now the Russians have 3. We set up a temporary base. They have a temporary base. And then Time Magazine runs a story, you knew how it was going to go, saying, has the Cold War now shifted to the moon? This was how it was going to go down. I mean, for God's sakes, somebody go back and watch Moonraker.
There's no such thing as a race where the one person wins and then everyone else just says, I quit.
Yeah, we quit.
And stops running.
The reason why that propaganda poster was important to me was, when you look at that thing, does it look in any way, shape, or form like the Russians are lacking in motivation? That poster just screamed, oh yeah, space is ours and Russia is going to lead the way. And you're telling me the second the Americans touch down, the second they do that, the Russians say, that's it. They pack it up. That's done. No, they did it. They packed it in because they realized the problem, the storyline problem, which is, if you turn it into that, the Americans there, the Russians there, you're opening up a whole bunch more exposure to the studio techniques. And then you're running the risk of massive disclosure issues, where somebody makes a blunder way worse than they did before, with the shadows and the blast crater and the no dust and the moon cars and all this other crap. Multiply that by a big amount, because now you have the Russians there. They have to have their own television stuff, and theirs have to match ours. Exactly.
And why in the world would, at any time, the 2 countries not pose for a photo up together on the moon? If they really were, I mean, that's what would really happen. If we can be on the ISS together, different countries mixing and mingling.
Yeah. Well, that's safe. That's easy, because you're in an enclosed capsule.
Right. And it's
that
fake.
Production, that's easy. You can shoot. I mean, you're shooting that anywhere.
Right.
But yeah, that's when they figured out, it's like, no, we can't. The space race has to end now, because if we continue it, the storylines are just going to somebody's going to botch it. They're going to screw the whole thing up. And so the Russians had to back out, and then we had to make it look boring. And the media did their job, and they said, oh yeah, well, it's old hat. We don't need to go back. And
Did you see this story that came out April 4th? I found this particular one in the Mirror, and it's by a guy named Jeff Parsons, which is weird. Jack Parsons. I don't know.
Right,
Found that weird, but probably it's a coinkydink, as they say. Anyway, the title of the story is Boeing reveals deep space gateway that humans will use as a stepping stone to Mars. Yep, it's a space habitat, according to this article, that'll be used as a waypoint for astronauts on the way to the red planets.
What a bunch of
it would hang around on the far side of the moon, it says. Of course, where we can't see anything with our telescopes, because at fake.
Uh,
And it's going to be a docking station for spaceships on the way. So this could be the way they're setting up their eventual fakery. Everything will be happening on the dark side of the moon. And why won't they be able to get?
you can't do it. I'm sorry. There's
They
no.
can't do. They can't do. No, they can't do it.
Well, no, I mean the Capricorn, again, anyone who has not watched the late 70s movie Capricorn 1, go back and watch it. There's a reason why you can't pull this off, and that is the detection ability of the internet is too granular. It is too microscopic.
But we are always fooled. I don't mean us. I mean, look at all the hoax events.
No, we haven't been fooled in a long time.
No, we're fooled by Boston bombing and Sandy Hook and whatever else.
Ground-based stuff, though. That's nothing compared to this. I mean, that's hearsay. If you want to say that you shot,
they just accept.
No, there's some things. I agree with you. I'm not arguing with you. There's some things you
Patricia
can't.
and Mark get in a fight.
I never liked her.
I'm out of here. How dare you?
No. If you want to do small stuff, you want to say that you shot bin Laden, right? With no proof of this, and then on his way back, you take the body and you wrap it without photographing it or showing any video of the body. Then you drop it off in the ocean for religious reasons.
Traditional burial is at sea.
Islamic burial. And then you don't tell anyone where you did it. And you go all the way home. And then you tell your congressman, oh, yeah, we don't have the body. It's like, what are you talking about? You bring the vanquished to Rome and you display them in the Colosseum. That's the rules. If you want to say that, that's fine. Because, yeah, people are going, okay. But, I mean, even that, people are going, well, that's a little sketchy. That's nothing, right? This is such a massive production. You can't not show it. You know what I mean? Meaning you have to show it, but you can't show it at the same time. You've got to televise it in some way, shape, or form. You've got to have a whole bunch of video. And it's nowadays, there's a reason why they have not faked a mission in 50 years? No, I mean a full-blown.
They're gearing up somehow, aren't they? Or is this
how are you going to do it?
Kicking the can down the road?
No, you can't. You've got to. All this is for nothing. Something is going to circumvent this. You don't.
Flat Earth.
Well, yeah. Well, not just flat Earth. Something tied to flat Earth. You can't let. NASA will not be allowed to. Okay. You know what it's like? Okay. Here, I came up with the analogy. It's perfect. Do you remember the Truman Show? When Truman went to the hospital looking for his wife, right? And he was convinced that none of the doctors there were real.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes in and there's this one doctor pretending to do surgery, right? And he's like stalling. He's doing everything he can. He's not a doctor. They're all actors, right? But it's a real patient on the gurney and they're fully awake. And he's got a scalpel in his hand. And Truman's looking through the window and he's waiting, right? And finally, they distract him. But beforehand, the doctor is doing everything he can not to make the incision because he knows the second he does that, it's over. You know, the jig is up. I don't know where that saying came from, but anyway, it's over. It's blown. So that's what NASA's doing now. They're doing everything they can. They're talking a great game, but they can't actually implement anything because we would discover it everyone's looking now. And the longer they wait, the more, you know, our community has grown by an amazing amount.
Yes, it has.
And all these people would be tuned in and recording everything, you know, and everyone would be downloading and going frame by frame through it. It would be over in a day. You can't do it. Sorry.
There's another story that came out. This one is in the Mirror. And weirdly enough, this is also by Jeff Parsons. He just must be the man. He's the man who's been sent out to write these fake stories. This one says, NASA sends a probe to touch the face of the sun.
Oh, was that the early one? In
an attempt to understand the threat of space weather. Yeah. It's going to launch next year and make 24 flybys of our quote unquote parent star. And
flybys, it's not going in?
Well, they said touch the face. Anyway, so the article begins with this quote, just the full-on programming. Getting too close to the sun is never advisable. It's a gigantic ball of energy with core temperatures going beyond 15 million degrees Celsius. How do they know
Sorry,
that?
what science book did you read that?
Yeah, exactly. And it says, however, NASA intends to launch a spacecraft next year that'll get closer to our star than any piece of man-made technology ever has before. You know, the only thing that's got close to the sun would probably be an airplane or one of the balloons that a flat earther or non-flat earther, just person sending a balloon up, has sent.
I was going to say Icarus.
That's it. Icarus. Well, yeah, that's true.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah, it's much
more programming, more.
well, again,
they believe it.
It's interesting because when I did the clues in the beginning, remember I did that core of the Earth thing where I said you do a cross section of the Earth and you see red and orange and yellow and white, but I didn't even notice till this year when you look at any of those diagrams, all those bands are almost identical to each other. They're all about 1,000 miles thick. Perfectly circular with no weird thing. You know, you'd think they'd come up with some detail. If you're doing seismic radar and ground penetrating radar, you'd get all these interesting little facets. Nature isn't that perfect. And yet that's the cross section they give us. They give us the gobstopper reference where all the bands are perfectly separated and there's no bleed through. It's just annoying.
You know, the truth is stranger than fiction has a good point. You know, we keep saying they can't do it, but yet they keep doing it.
Well, no. And I disagree. They're doing everything they're doing is in low Earth orbit that they claim.
Wait a minute.
Nothing.
Okay, I was going to say there really is no such thing as low Earth orbit.
Yeah, no, there is no such thing as this. But everything let me rephrase that. Everything they've done is less than 400 miles up. Okay, with the exception of probes that they supposedly shoot off to like Saturn and Jupiter or whatever. Nothing manned has ever been done over 400 miles up. So what I mean is that what SpaceX is even thinking they're going to attempt hasn't even been faked in 50 years, which has got to be the scariest thing ever. I'm not, you've heard me say this. If the powers that be came to me with a dump truck full of money, billions of dollars, and they said you can pick any director and studio production team you want. You can hire all of George Lucas's people, but you have a certain time frame to do it in. You've got to do it in 2 years or maybe less. Can you do it? And I'd say no. And I consider myself a pretty good production guy. And pretty good at problem solving. There's no way. I'd be scared to death because eventually it comes down to the weakest link, meaning somebody in your production team makes a stupid mistake, something gets out of place, something doesn't look right, and it's got to be found out. There's a reason why moviemistakes.com exists, and that's just one site. There's a whole bunch of people live for that crap. To find the movie mistakes. They will find it. What I'm saying is that the reason why. Okay, the small version. The reason why there was only one picture taken from 1972 until 2015, 43 years, was because they were scared to do another one. That's how nervous they are. They were scared to even release a second picture because they were worried it was going to be inconsistent. There were going to be inconsistencies in the pictures. So they milked that first picture until there was nothing left, until we started talking about it. Then they released a second picture, which was even worse than the first one. Doing a full-blown studio production has got to be the most terrifying thing ever. I know they don't want to do it. They may have to, but maybe they got other plans.
I opened up in chat an option for people to ask a question, any sort of question to myself, you, or I said one of my cats. Somebody, of course, comes right in and says, "Can I eat your cat?" And like, yeah, okay.
What?
Whatever. Yeah. Let's see. Infinite Plane Society would like to know, as would somebody else here in chat. I don't know where they are. If you believe in nukes, and I know the answer to that is yes. My feeling is no, but
I do. Well, I believe in advanced explosives. Okay, two things. One, I believe in radiation. We all know that exists, and I could give you all sorts of fun things when it comes to radiation. If there's radiation, if you believe mainstream science, and I tend to, and along this regards, that means there are elements that are breaking down on their own and giving off radioactive waves, and they can hurt us. You don't think there's radiation? Yeah, see if you can get a dentist to give you an X-ray without the lead blanket. It's not going to happen. We can generate radioactive material. So that being said, here's what kind of convinced me. If you don't believe in nukes, all right, I'm trying to do this in order. If you get a chance, go watch the movie, the documentary Trinity and Beyond, narrated by Bill Shatner, that covers the United States and Soviet Union, maybe a little bit of the Chinese at the end, atomic weapons program from beginning to end, from Trinity all the way through Fishbowl and Hardtack and the big one dropped by the Soviet Union, blah, blah, blah. Go watch that when you get a chance. The reason is when you watch this, again, I've absorbed a ton of media. I've watched a lot of movies over the years going ways back, back to when special effects were utter junk. Remember, special effects have only really been taking off since the mid 80s. When CGI started coming in, George Lucas's team started coming. Before that, I mean, take a look at like Logan's Run from the late 70s.
That's a good movie, though.
It's a good movie, but the special effects did not age well. And that won Academy Awards for special effects. All right, that's the leap that we took. So anything pre-Star Wars, pre-1977, pre-1980, the special effects were not very good. When you watch Trinity and Beyond, and people say, no, it looks cartoonish. It's like, really, watching on a big screen. Some of those explosions are, and I'm not trying to be weird or anything to say this, but I do like fire. They're gorgeous. They are amazing explosions, especially, fine, if you don't like the air bursts or if you don't like the ground bursts, look at the water tests.
But maybe those were just big bombs,
maybe
nuclear.
Maybe if it's not a fission thing, fine. That's fine. If that's not the case, they still have immense explosive power.
Okay.
When they did the test in that harbor where they took a bunch of enemy battleships and destroyers and detonated one of, at the bottom of that bay, the plume of water that was sent up, we could not generate that special effect without CGI. That explosion was massive, 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 massive. But okay, fine. If you don't want to believe in the atomic weapons program, fine. My secondary thing to that is I don't care, because for me, it goes along the same route of the dinosaur thing and everything else. Look, it's a second tier conspiracy. Whatever technology they're using to generate these explosions, if it's not fission, fine. Don't care. Whatever it is, they've got some really great stuff out there.
The thing that makes me not believe, the number one thing would be there would have been a bomb that would have gone off even accidentally because humans are fallible, and it's never happened.
Maybe.
I mean, I could drop a dish, in my house and break it. And
well, to counter that argument, I used to do pyrotechnic shows for years.
And you still have all your fingers. So.
I have all my fingers and all my legs. Look, there's some people that will defy the odds.
Right.
And when it comes to atomic weapons, remember the technology. If you believe in the technology, the process that has to be done, because it's an implosion, explosion, the process involved there is so elaborate with so many safety devices that I think it's relatively safe. Military's not dumb when it comes to that. I mean, the people that work at the high level that devise these weapons, they're very, very good at that stuff. Well, here, if you're going to use that argument, I'll use the nerve gas argument. We haven't had a nerve gas, and we know that exists. That's bug spray for people. A nerve gas accident where it drifted over a city and wiped out Albuquerque. I'm just using Albuquerque because Infinity was in chat.
Right.
So I do believe in the explosions, but if it turns out they're using something else, some other technology, fine. I don't really care. It's not bigger than Flat Earth by a long shot. So again, watch Trinity and Beyond. It's a gorgeous movie.
Is it the one that has those little housey things that blow up in black and white, or is that something else? Because that looks so fun.
Well, that's part of it. And that was when they went out to the desert, when the United States government was testing.
It looked like a little model stage set.
Well, yeah, it did. But it wasn't, I don't think it was a model stage. I mean, when you watch the close-up videos of them planting the trees, they actually brought in full-blown trees and embedded them into the ground to test to see. They created a fake forest. And that's what kind of makes it look weird, because everything was spaced out, trucks and buses and makeshift houses and a fake forest and balloons and all sorts of crap. They tested anything they could on the ground, but it was all, It was all very spaced apart. So it was very surreal when you looked at it, because they didn't want it. They didn't want anything mingling with each other. So once it was done, they could walk in and it's like, okay, here's what's left of the Jeep. Okay, here's what's left of the forest.
I just think it's big bombs. That's my final.
It might be big bombs, but I believe in fission. I'm sorry, I do.
Well, yeah.
Doesn't mean that I'm wrong.
No, I believe in radioactive material, and I believe in the fact that you get X-rays if you get X-rays and all of that, and you have to put on a lead smock if you're getting your teeth X-rayed. But then to take it into bombs, I just don't think it's stable enough. And
let me say one more thing, and then you can read another question, which is the people that question whether or not there is fission weapons. That's what we're talking about here. Weapons that are based on fission. Do they believe in uranium? How about that? Because that's how this whole thing started, which was we found uranium in the desert. It killed people because it's decaying. It's an element that decays.
Well, I don't know about. If by itself, uranium will kill people.
Uranium by itself will kill people. Here's the whole premise for people that aren't. I'm not saying I'm a scientist. I'm not Bill Nye. But here's how the whole thing works. We had to find the whole concept behind atomic weapons was you had to find an element that was relatively unstable and make it go critical. It's not like you can take a piece of wood or a piece of coal and turn it into an atomic weapon. You have to find an element that's already starting to break down, that it's already a little shaky as it is, like taking an unstable person and freaking them out and making them go lose it and shoot up a postal.
All you need to do that is move to the UK.
There you go. But that's what I mean. You take uranium and you take a whole bunch of explosives around it and you literally crush it with so much force that all the bonds that remember, uranium is already starting to freak out. The bonds that are holding uranium break apart and release more energy than what you put into it. That's the whole concept behind atomic weapons.
What about Fukushima? Now, see, to me, Fukushima at first seemed real. And then after a while, I learned that there are people that are in the area where they had to evacuate, have gone back. And there are people that snuck and stayed. And they're taking care of the creatures that are living there, farm animals. And they're fine. The animals are fine. Their arms and legs aren't falling off. And they're not, having babies with 3 heads.
People, I know you're not old enough to remember it because well, the Chernobyl thing. People thought Chernobyl was never going to ever be, inhabitable again. There's people that'll do tours and sneak in tours. The government, though, remember, state and federal regulations are much more strict.
But there's animals in Chernobyl.
I know. There's animals walking around Chernobyl, and the grass is growing and the trees are there, and apparently the effects aren't but they're not going to take chances. Remember, it all comes down to class action lawsuits. You can't leave anyone there if there's even a 2% chance of somebody getting a weird form of cancer and coming back and suing the state. They're not going to let it happen. So they clear everybody out. And I mean, so you're wondering, was Fukushima real at all? I mean, the plant going off?
Yeah. I'm a bit of a conspiracy theorist, and I've seen things that say even that was not really a hoax. Yeah, kind of a hoax. Well, I'm not very well versed on it, I'll admit. But
it was, I don't know if it was a hoax as much as, I don't want to get into it too much because it's not.
What about Galen Windsor, who ate radiation?
Well, I could go into another, you know what, off air, I'll tell you another topic, which I'm going to save for a scientific debate. I don't want to.
Nathan Oakley says, have you ever seen uranium?
No. Uranium. Let's put it this way. There were, I'll take it a whole nother, again, it's not, I shouldn't be wasting time on this. But there were the uranium enrichment process is so freaking labor intensive. There were entire cities dedicated to it. In fact, I know this because one was here in Washington State, out at Hanford. Which ended up turning that whole thing into a nuclear power plant. Do the same people think that nuclear power plants with the giant cooling towers, do they not exist? Are they not doing anything? We could go down all sorts of different aspects of this. I believe in uranium as an element on the periodic table. I do. And I'm not trying to quote science here. I do believe there are elements out there that, look, we know there are elements that are heavier, they're lighter, that are corrosive, that, you know, that there are some that are unstable. And I think, and that again, it falls into human nature. If we found out, if once you figured out that there was an unstable element and you figure out a way to exploit it, that's all you'd care about.
Kind of true. People just want to kill other people and try to find new ways of doing it all the time. So.
Look, we turned it into two things. We turned it into weapons and we turned it into power plants. Power plants are dangerous. The weapons are even way more dangerous. Plus, we're also looking for cold fusion, not to be
that's right.
Not to be confused with fission. Fusion, where, you know, can you generate more power safely from some of these elements? And up until now, no, we can't.
Well, chat is mixed. I would say it's about 50-50 with people saying that this is real, this is not real. And in the end, there's nothing we really can do except keep on researching. It's an interesting thing to talk about.
The military, let's leave it at this. The military has some scary weapons. They have the best scientists. They always have, because they pay well. And if you have a scientist with a certain, let's call it a moral flexibility, they will build you the best stuff because they can. Once you take morals out of the question, out of the equation, the scientists will build stuff. Look at watch Trinity and Beyond when they were talking about why did you build the hydrogen bomb when the atomic bomb was just fine? And the scientists said, because we could. Because we could. Science doesn't have, it's like, why not? It was like, science will take it as far as people will let them do it. If there's funds to do it, they will do it. Remember the line from, again, there's so many cool little lines, like the physicist that thought that during the Trinity experiment that there was a chance that the first atomic explosion could ignite the atmosphere and everybody would die. And the response was,
did it anyway.
It's like, well, who's going to yell at us if it happens?
Nice.
Like, okay, throw the switch. Why not? Because, and the point is, a lot of people wouldn't do it. A lot of people would chicken out and say, no, don't throw the switch. But scientists be like, we got to know. For knowledge's sake, we have to know. Okay. There you go. Do you have anything else besides atomic weapons?
Yeah. I just want to let people know that, like, for example, Felix Siam says, poor squatters living in Chernobyl and they have many health problems. And then The Truth is Stranger in Fiction says there's a man and wife living in Chernobyl who never left and they're fine. Candy Franklin says, I have uranium under my bed. Persian scribe, uranium and plutonium, given the Roman mythological god names, just as planets of similar nomenclature. And
look up the woman who discovered uranium. She died horribly.
Arwen says, from what I understand, you can be poisoned by radioactivity, but radiation only kills you if you are filled with bad intentions. So there's a lot of different opinions in the chat, and I love it. I love it. I love people just expressing what they think, and the conversation really being all about what's going on in the show. And let's see. Somebody's asking if you opt for a Big Bang scenario for creation. So.
What, really? You're gonna go down that road? If you believe in simulation theory, if you believe in it, then yeah, Big Bang scenario is the big reboot. When you boot up your machine right now, whatever's living in, provide there are conscious entities living inside your machine, what do they think is happening? That's the equivalent of the Big Bang. The argument which you got to throw back at science is, and this is the old one, everybody knows this has been around for decades, what happened before the Big Bang? And science can't answer that. So I like both sides, where science will say, well, the Big Bang created everything from nothing, and religion says, well, the Big Bang was there, but God created it. It's pretty simple, in my opinion.
So you kind of believe there was a Big Bang, but not in the way that people think there was a Big Bang.
The argument still goes back to the same thing. Science will say there's a Big Bang, but it was spontaneous out of nothingness. But the human mind cannot process that. So, and I'm going to fall into that category. Okay, what created the Big Bang? Something had to start it. But then you keep going back far enough, you're gonna go nuts, because eventually you're going back into the beginning of existence itself, and we are not meant to process that. One world at a time.
What about the idea about a creator creating humans, like bam, 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 and animals same way with no Big Bang. Is that?
Well, no. I mean, it's you still got to. Oh boy, do I really want to get into the biblical side of things? The whole God created the world in 7 days. Yeah, it's fine, but you don't know how long each day is in God terms, right? Or whatever, and are we talking the ultimate God? Remember what I said before, which is we were created by one of two things here. We were either created by an advanced civilization that is subcontracting for the divine, or the divine itself. One of the two. But do I believe that we were messed with? Oh yeah, you bet I do. I believe, and not only that, but we have been going through iterations. We've been going through versions. What version are we? You and I talking right now. Are we version 7? Who was version 6? At one point, were the continents together in the giant supercontinent called Pangea? Was that version 2? Was that version 3?
There's lots of questions here in what you're saying. On the surface, people could slam you and go, "Oh, he believes in the Big Bang." But when you really listen to what you're saying, you're not discounting God. You're just saying.
No, I'm not saying the scientific. No, in fact, I will make fun of science. Let me be absolutely clear here. Science's problem with the Big Bang is they can't go back far enough. Science stops and says, "Oh yeah, it was spontaneous. It was a Big Bang that came out of nothing." But no, I'll say that at the very least, a higher power created the Big Bang. I will not ever say that it was spontaneous out of nothing. No, never.
They say in order to have the Big Bang, you need dark matter, and that's
don't get into the whole dark matter thing. Right. Look, it doesn't really matter anyway, because we're not talking about a vast, huge, unbelievably monstrous galaxy and universe. We're not talking about that anymore. That is gone. There is no giant galaxy. That everything. Again, it's a little frustrating for me because I've talked to people that keep holding on to different aspects of space. They say, okay, fine, Pluto's a piece of crap, but I totally believe in the moon missions. Okay, the moon missions are junk, but you can't tell me satellites aren't real. It's like, you got to take it back all the way down. If we are in my opinion, if we're in an enclosed system, people say, well, is there space outside of here? Why? There doesn't have to be space outside of here. All there has to be is the illusion of space. If you believe in the illusion, then why the heck would we make space? Sorry, they make space.
Well, to sum it all up, Vegan Warrior, to put a capper on this particular conversation, he says the Big Bang was a nuclear explosion.
Nice.
Rim pot. Good one. Yeah. Ooh, what's funny? People often say, "Oh, Mark and Patricia just always agree with each other."
No,
so not true.
No, we don't. Although most of the time it's off air.
Yeah, we should just go back to talking about kitties, kitty cats.
Aww.
Yeah, we agree on that one.
Awesome. Okay. So what else did Did chat have any other interesting questions?
Oh my gosh, so many. And it went by so fast during that conversation that I missed some. And somebody did ask me a question about a cat, and they asked me what I thought of a new name for their cat, and then I can't find that anymore. So
don't ask me about dinosaurs.
Oh, really?
Why? Is that a dinosaur question?
No, but now there's going to be.
Oh, crap. Okay. Well, okay.
Nathan Oakley says, "Quick, get to the cats."
Let me answer that real quick.
All right.
Which is, people say, well, the dinosaurs are a hoax. There's a real big problem.
It's really weird. I have to stop for a minute and go. You continue, but I have to get the heat's on in my house, and it's really hot, and it's weird. But you go ahead.
Okay. While Patricia's gone, I'm going to give you an instructional video on how to make bathtub methamphetamines.
No.
Sorry. Okay. First, you get shags of carpet. You get a whole bunch of chemicals from your drugstore. No, I'm totally kidding. Okay. So here's the deal with dinosaurs. My problem with dinosaurs isn't that I don't believe in them. It's that this world, I don't think the carbon dating system is even close to what it should be. Now, if you throw all the carbon dating data out at the window, if you say that carbon dating is just a piece of crap, then that puts the dinosaur question into a whole nother category, which is, do I believe that there were giant lizards roaming around and pterodactyls and all this other fun stuff? Yeah, I do. But do I think they were 300 million years ago? No. I think they were one of the early versions of when this place was being toyed with, of terraforming it.
Okay, then why do they not have the real bones in museums? And why have they never found a whole head of any dinosaur?
Don't know.
Well, that to me just blows it out. Gone.
No, it
No.
might. It might. But at the same time, do I believe that there were? I mean, look, when you're terraforming a place like this, whatever version before the whole humanoid experiment thing going along, you're going to mess with stuff like, I don't know, giant trees and really hot climates and volcanoes everywhere. And, you're messing with things like, let's say there was a reptile experiment that was done here. Do I think that was feasible? Yes, I do. There are enough. I mean, unless you're saying that the creativity of humans, and yeah, we're pretty creative people. We created all sorts of different dinosaurs. I mean, the variety, the catalogs of dinosaurs is pretty.
I think what you just said is correct. We created a bunch of species of dinosaurs of a wide variety.
Maybe. I mean, it's possible. But for me, I think it still dovetails into what we've been kind of working at with the flat Earth stuff, which is, again, we're not the first people to rent this apartment. So
okay, see, I see what you're saying, but maybe I'm just sort of dinosaurs. No, I don't think
it doesn't affect us. Let's put it this way. Of course, there are some things out there that I think that are really, really odd. Not to just throw one out in the left field, but the Loch Ness Monster, right?
Right.
It's an interesting story because any good dinosaur person, not scientist, but anyone that follows dinosaur stuff knows full well it's got to be a plesiosaur. Long neck, flippers.
But where's the others? Is there just one? I mean, there needs to be a mate.
That's just it. Or the here's the other thing. This for me, it all kind of came down to that stupid, ugly fish that they found in the ocean, the coelacanth. I know I'm butchering the pronunciation, but it's that prehistoric fish that was supposed to be dead for millions of years, and then they found a live one. And I mean, it was perfectly pretty. It wasn't like stuck in a block of ice or anything.
So that would mean there was others.
And there was that. Here's the other one. The look up, and people say, "Oh, it's a fake picture." No, I don't think it was a fake picture because it was in the '80s when nobody cared about this stuff. Conspiracies wasn't even a thing back then, which was the plesiosaur carcass that was drug in by that Japanese fishing trawler, and it was rotting really badly, and it smelled horrible, as you can imagine. And being the Japanese, Americans would have never done what they did. They're like, they got to get rid of this thing. Take a picture of it, throw it back in. Oh my God. I mean, it was, if that was really the case, you're saying, well, it could have been stuck in an iceberg. I'm going, yeah, but even that iceberg, let's say iceberg was 100,000 years old. That's still a far cry from millions of years old. So my point is this: the carbon dating system is completely out of whack. So does the entire possibility that hundreds of millions of years, did that even happen here? You know what I mean?
That's true. You're right. I mean, everything in history, I sometimes think that I can only figure that I can trace back 200 years of history. That's it.
Well, there's that argument that 1,000 years was added on to our calendar, which is interesting in itself.
I mean, how much can you yourself prove? I can prove the existence of my mother and father and my grandparents, but that's it.
Yeah, you're gonna go into that road. Then you're gonna start talking about the dark city analogy, which is memories can be implanted, but let's not go there. The point is that I think that carbon dating is completely shot out the window. I'm still attacking science with that. I'm saying that the gaps between where we are now and previous civilizations, no one's really doubting that we had previous civilizations. There are cities sunken off of Japan and India, and there's radioactive glass. And people say what they want in India. When were the pyramids really built, and so on? And are there Bosnian pyramids? The point is, our history only goes back, if you believe our backstory, goes back 5,000 years unbroken. Then there's a big gap. And then we're talking about other civilizations. What my argument is that the gap in time between these civilizations may be not very long at all. It doesn't take that many generations to generate, to start messing with a new civilization, setting it in place. An Etch-a-Sketch, shake up the continents a little bit, wipe out things, get rid of all the land civilizations. It's mostly water anyway. Really, all you have to do is shift the continents around. Everything else is underwater. Because the technology to go down to deep levels, I'm sure there's plenty of remains of cities down at levels we can't get to. because they're
I used to
covered.
love those old movies like Journey to the Center of the Earth and all of
Oh
those
yeah.
things.
They've been doing those for a
And
while.
they've remade them and they're not any good. But the old ones when I was young, just very exciting. That
The,
yeah.
we're not, and I know some people roll their eyes when I say this, but were there other continents and civilizations that were even more advanced than ours? And once they get to a certain point, do they go through a reset mode? I do believe this.
And are we on our way, if what you're saying is true, are we on our way by bringing about flat earth truth to be put into another reset mode?
Yeah. Yeah.
I know you kind of think that.
I have no doubt that's where we're going. In fact, you guys want to look up some cool stuff. Look up, you probably remember this guy, Terence McKenna.
Mm-hmm.
Terence McKenna, I didn't really pay that much attention to him for years. It's like, oh man, a guy with a lot of math goes into the jungle with a bunch of drugs and comes out the other side, and he's got some weird things. And
Very
I thought
interesting to listen to, though.
He is interesting to listen to. And I listened to him when I was getting into the whole 2012 thing, because people were tying that to him. And he was talking about something called time wave zero. And he was saying that the math that he was showing, it's all about novelty. And I don't want to get into too much about it, but he was saying that eventually the graph, his math, everything tanked. It augured into the ground around 2012. And I think he misinterpreted it. I think he saw this as, he thought that civilization was going to end around 2012. But I disagree. I think that the novelty ended in 2012 and that we ran a civilization. All right, we got enough time.
Yeah, we do. We got 15 more minutes.
I'll give you this. You want my prediction of where we're going with this? People say, well, it's not your 100th monthly effect. It's not enough. Okay, it's not. You're right. It's not enough. Eventually, every civilization on this world has to come to a resolution, for lack of a better word. And you only have so much time. And here's the thing: you only have so much novelty. There's only so many stories any one civilization can tell. We all know this on a micro level. For think of whatever series you can ever think of, right? Every series on television, every movie series, everything ends. Every book series ends. Harry Potter had to end.
And there's a story arc as well. And toward the end, it always gets weird in every story. And they kind of go too far and add weird friends or weird elements to the story that kind of water it down and make it dumb.
You're absolutely right.
Maybe we're here now.
We are. We absolutely are. The writers run out of normal ideas, and it's like, you know what? Let's just go with anything. Hence the term jumping the shark. Happy Days ran for a number of years, and eventually the writers there's only so many stories you can do. And it's like, you know what? We're going to have Fonzie jump a shark outside of Arnold's for no apparent reason whatsoever, other than that it was a dare. And now it's now known as has the storyline jump the shark that is now tied to that. So maybe Terence McKenna was onto something. Now, I initially thought he was kooky, kind of like Eric Dollard, kooky. Maybe he was talking, not that civilization was going to end in 2012, but the novelty ran out in 2012. Think about this. Anyone that's out there, how many new things have come out story-wise? Stories. I don't care what form that's out there. Art, music, literature. I'm sorry, the 5 forms of art: picture, sculptures, music, literature, and dance.
You're right. It's all a rehash.
Has anything new come out since 2012? Anything? In fact, this year I commented, type in like the movies of 2017. You look through the list of what we're going to put out this year. Everything's a remake. In fact, some are remakes of remakes of remakes. How many King Kong? I actually watched that in the theater. How many King Kong movies have we done since the 1930s? A whole bunch, not including the Japanese. There's everything is remake. There are new things. So where am I going with this? Remember how I said a couple of weeks ago that what seems to be impossible lately is becoming normal? Things are happening in our civilization that have never happened before, statistically speaking. The Academy Awards, the Super Bowl, a reality television star being elected president, athletes talking about flat Earth.
Flat Earth just being mentioned by a president.
Yeah, all these things. It's like the story writers are going for broke. Everybody, this is that time. It's like, okay, let's just everything, whatever you got left in the tank. because we're not getting picked up for a next season. That's what it feels like to me. And that's what I think Terrence McKenna was kind of, I think he was off in that. He didn't realize it's like not civilization wasn't going to end, but the potential for our civilization has run its course. You know what I mean?
That's sad, actually. But then now we, as flat earthers or the flat earth carriers, or the people who don't believe we live on a ball, whatever you want to call all of us gathered around the campfire. And actually around our campfire are people who do believe we live on the ball. But you know what I'm talking about, us who are in the live chat and watching this show right now. It's sad to think that we're here, if what you're saying is true, and everything that already happened in our life was already the climax. Everything now is just a lie that they're foisting on us, and we're aware of it. It makes it almost seem like it's pointless to do anything. No. Get flat earth truth out there.
No. I disagree, which is, and here's the reason why. Not remember I said everything, all the writers are throwing everything on the table now. There is still one more act, the act 3, if you've ever done Broadway, and that is
Mark jumps the shark. Or is this that episode?
No. And that is every movie has, every story has its final climactic, whatever it is. And the question is, and that's the crossroads we've come to, which is it going to be, remember, there's 2 endings to any great story. And that is, do you have the happy ending, the golden age thing where it's all happy and wonderful sunlit stuff and right off to the sunset? Or do you do the tragic ending, which wins awards, but it's not generally a fan favorite and you only watch it once? So that's where I think we're kind of leading into now. It's getting all weird, but at the same time, there's this choice. I'm going to put it out there, if the powers that be are listening, which ending are you going to have to this? Is it going to be this great golden age where we all of a sudden realize we're in one big community and civilization rises up and becomes this, realizes its potential and does all these great things? Or are you going to try to auger it into the ground and turn it in, turn people loose? Use the Heath Ledger line from Batman. And that is, when the chips are down, these people will eat each other. Will you go that route? One of the two. It's a very decisive move, big fork in the road. And that's where I think we are.
Gregory May in chat says the only thing left to do is party.
There you go. Oh, look at the talk about predictive programming. Look at Britney Spears, "Dance Until the World Ends."
Mm-hmm. There's been so many songs, even "Party Like It's Till It's 1999."
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I do think we have me, glass half full if possible. I still do think we have a lot of potential here, but that's where it feels like it's going, because all bets are off now this year. We've seen, look at the stuff we've seen in the last 3 or 4 months. It's been an amazing amount of activity in our community. Our community is doing things now we didn't think were possible a year ago, and we are on a regular basis. It's only a question of time now before this thing gets turned into something else. And again, remember the left jab before the right hook. What happens to the people? What plot line? I said this on Nathan's show, that flat earth is the framework for the story inside it. It is just framing, is putting it in context, and what's coming next. That's the real story, whatever it is.
It is kind of exciting though, isn't it? And we are all in the know about this.
Oh God, yes.
Yes. I mean, you know what? Think about it. And let's see. Paula, Knowledge Scavenger, had a great, I'm going to have to scroll around to try to find it. I might have to paraphrase. I wish I could find it because my paraphrasation, is that a word? Isn't going to be as good as what she said. Here it is. History is like a lock with many tumblers. We just don't know how many there are, but there is a finite number, an end to the cycles.
Yeah. Look, I'm not, me. I mean, I like a good disaster movie. I did, that's how we met, was the top disaster
Talking movies. About top disaster movies.
Top disaster movies. But look, every civilization, look at the stuff we've generated in 5,000 years. And honestly, and people saying, well, why would they hide that? Why would they create the globe? It's because really didn't become, I mean, we've been interesting before that, but the last 500 years have really been the good stuff. What we've done over the last 500. I mean, yeah, you can talk about other things, but it's slow going. You're like walking through mud through the other stuff. Last 500 years, it's been pretty active. So every civilization has its time, and then you gotta give other civilizations their chance. Look, another civilization had to make way for us, and we will have to make way for somebody else. We are not, no, it's not perennial. We are not an evergreen place. We know this. So, how are we going to play it out? We still got a chance to be on stage. What are we going to do with it? I say we do a great, show-stopping song and dance number, Osmond style.
Ooh, maybe not Osmond style. I'll go with the
Right.
Carpenters.
Get
I'll
a
take
whole
the
family
Carpenters.
out there, including little Jimmy.
Terence McKenna, we were talking about him before.
Yeah.
It got me thinking about, because he really believed that people should have the right to use psychedelics to explore their inner world. And whether or not you agree with that is beyond, what I'm about to talk about. But very briefly, when you're involved in Flat Earth, when you're thinking about all these things we're talking about, and although in the live show, we all don't agree. We don't all agree about dinosaurs. We all don't agree about volcanoes or Pangea, continents. We all don't agree that we live on a flat plane or a ball. I mean, nuclear weaponry, everything is up for debate. But something that Terence McKenna said, it reminds me of, we all sometimes feel alone because most of the people in our lives don't think about these things that we're talking about. They're just la-di-da going through life and, not considering much of anything except paying the bills and going to their job and cooking their dinner. And that's how we all used to be too. But Terence said the cost of sanity in this society is a certain level of alienation. And that is what we face as flat earthers. But I suggest, and I know a lot of us do already, is we turn it around and enjoy this storyline that we're living in and the amazing, crazy ride we're on.
Yeah, I know we don't have that much time left in the show, but the Bill Hicks line, and we've all heard it, when Bill Hicks would end his shows, you're talking about how the world is a ride. That was so, when I first heard it, it was so profound to me because, and I still use it today. I think about it in different aspects. I try to dovetail it into different things, but he's right. It's part ride, part stage, part terrarium, part planetarium, part school, part jail. It's all these things. It is the great story, and you're in it. And it is, it's scary, and there are horrible things that happen. And I don't want to sound glib or downplay it. But look, if you believe in a greater purpose, or if you believe that outside here you were something, that means you volunteered for it. You paid the ticket. I'll use the Bill Hicks line here, which is, you had every chance. And we've all done this at amusement parks. I don't know whether it's Six Flags or Disney or whatever. We've all done this. And that is, you didn't want to go on the roller coaster, but your friends kept telling you to go. You didn't want to, but you know what? You finally got up your courage and you got your ticket and you stood in line. You had every chance to back out from going on that roller coaster. And then finally you got on it. And it wasn't nearly as horrible. And by the time you were done, after a while, and you're scared, it's like, oh, I'm never doing that again. Sure enough, you did do it again. That's what I feel like when I'm in here sometimes. We are here because we were meant to be. It's to give us perspective.
Do you think all of us who are here now, talking, gathered around this campfire we'll call Flat Earth, are
gather around,
here...
kid.
Get your marshmallows out. Let's roast them.
Flat Earth.
Who would have thunk it? Do you think that we're here together, specifically these different personality types at this time for a reason, or is it just random luck of the draw?
Both. You kind of like do you remember the movie The Adjustment Bureau?
Oh, yes. They went around and kind of were the sort of Avengers and got rid of people.
They had the plan. They had the book that showed the path. People, basically, you knew in something like this. Here's where it gets weird, because then you're talking kind of the Oracle Neo type thing, where she knew what was going to happen to Neo before it happened. And the line she used was, "You didn't come here to make the choice. You've already made it. You just came here to understand why you made it." Meaning, in something like this, it's so elaborate. The storyline, which is why you can't do time travel, not in the same world. The storyline is so meticulous and so laid out. It's not necessarily an accident that we all came together. but all the paths have already been chosen. You know what I mean? You know, there's that's like, oh no, I choose my own destiny. It's like, no, you already chose it before you came in. The road has already been laid out for you. You just gotta take it, and you can't second guess it because you've already done it. So no, it's not random, you know, and it's we're here because, you know, it was laid out. It's not as simple as just getting on a ride. But yeah, let's put it this way. When you're on a roller coaster with 20 other people, you're all on the same path.
You're all going to get vomit on each other.
Well,
on the big loop.
The roller coaster doesn't fragment off and go into, people don't start jumping from the roller coaster and like people just disappear for no apparent reason. You're all on the roller coaster together. So
we're all a family. That's the weird thing. It's
communal, but when you're standing in line with them, you don't know them. But once you're on it, you're part of the same group.
Right.
And by the time you get off it, you may actually know them quite well in some cases.
Indeed. There's a question from chat. We only have a few more moments from SSELMAN, Sesalaman, I guess. He asks, can you ask Mark what that nuke movie was again? Trinity and Beyond? Was that what it is?
How did you guys know? Yeah. It's also known as the atomic bomb movie.
Right.
Look up Trinity and Beyond, or you can just look up William Shatner, atom bomb. There's all sorts of different versions of it, but William Shatner narrated it. And
Gregory May says, Jane, stop this crazy thing. Because you remember the Jetsons reference.
Yeah, the Jetsons. Well, again, that's a great reference because the Jetsons card. Look, that was the future, and that was in the freaking 60s when that series came out. You know, they did the Flintstones and the Jetsons, completely polar opposites. One in the future, one in the past, and the Jetsons thing never even came close. Never even came close. Food replicators, flying cars.
I wanted to be able to push a button like Judy Jetson could do and have a whole new outfit on. I'm still waiting for that.
Oh, the Jetsons was a fantastic. I mean, the Flintstones got way more play. I don't know why, but the Jetsons was a great series.
Yes.
And we don't have that. The Jetsons future never even came. Yeah, we had video phones, which nobody used, and a few other things, but the rest of it, you know, the high rise, those great buildings that were on those stilts.
Yes.
That went up for, you never saw the ground. It was everything was elevated. Every single thing. But yeah, that Jetsons future never happened, and it should have. And you got to wonder why. And that's because
everyone says, "Where's my flying car?" That's a thing.
Can't have a flying car. Yeah. And here I know we got a few more minutes, but I want to mention this because I don't think this will give you guys some hope. If it's like, oh God, we're all going to die. Which is civilizations that go the transition from one civilization to another. There are core groups, or however how much of that civilization lives, and they all have advanced technology, and they are flying above us at all times. I've seen them. You can get your night vision binoculars and watch them at a given point. But for whatever reason, and that's part of the reason why I think we are, this place is supposed to work itself out naturally, is that the protocols are in place. The older civilizations are not allowed to interact directly with us. And why would you? You don't want it. You want us to be natural. You want us to not worry, not to know exactly what's going on. It's the uncertainty that inspires us in certain cases. We have to deal with the uncertainty. And so that's where a lot of the novelty comes from. So, which is why you don't have a giant mothership landing in the middle of freaking Kansas, getting out and just shaking hands and taking pictures.
But we don't really know what they've got in store for us. If they do have some sort of...
That's just it. That's part of the uncertainty. That's what makes it exciting. Look, if you knew full well that the roller coaster was 100% safe, then you wouldn't have to worry too much. But everyone's got that.
When you see the carnies, you know that sometimes they don't tighten those screws.
Well, yes, of course. There's, I know. Well, look, the two examples real fast. One is Space Mountain. If you've ever been to Space Mountain, the great inside roller coaster in the dark. Roller coaster in the dark. You think it's scary on a roller coaster where you can see the curves. What about ones where you can't see the curves, right?
I would just be ill immediately.
But here's where it gets interesting real fast. And that is, and you've heard me say this, imagine if you woke up with temporary amnesia on a roller coaster. That roller coaster takes on a completely new meaning. Every curve is life and death. And those people behind you, you might live on their every word, or you may hate them, but everything is unknown because of the memory block. It's the reason why, and I'm a huge believer in this, why we are not allowed to remember what happened temporarily. Why there's a memory block in place. Why you cannot remember what happened beforehand. Because if you remember where you were before you got here, this wouldn't mean anything.
And some children, small children, they do remember something. They've been documented cases where they remember being the mother or the great grandmother of their mother. Something weird like that.
But that evaporates like fog. Again, also a great part of this place, how when we come into this world, our consciousness kind of coalesces slowly over a period of years, over what you learn. But when you leave, it's always the same. A million ways to die, but it's always the same way of leaving, consciousness-wise. So again, it's a great system. It works really, really well. I'm just excited to if you're listening to this now, just be pumped that you're in the middle of the great finale, for whatever it's worth.
I'm excited that I want to have Rory say hello here.
Okay.
I had Greer earlier on my lap.
Hi, Rory.
I'm excited to be involved with all of the people that are involved in this awakening that I meet in chat and on my Facebook and Twitter and the channels I subscribe to, and the new ones I'll find tomorrow. Just everyone, we're here on this ride together. Isn't that amazing? Yeah.
And when other people find out, you will be, again, remember when I said there will not be enough flat earthers to go around. You're going to have, because people are going to freak out, although there's going to be more people it'll be that great energy where it's like, oh, flat earth, I totally knew it. And then some guy next to you be like, yeah, I knew it too. It's like, really? Yeah.
No, you didn't. You were fighting me every day.
Well, yeah, those people, sure.
But, well, I guess that is the conclusion of our show. We're done. That's it. It's over. Yeah. Until next Wednesday, that is. So thank you, Mark.
Next Wednesday. Right. Yeah, thank you.
Another secret show.
Shh.
Thanks to all in the live chat as well. We had over 300 viewing live. I appreciate you. You know I do. Until we meet again, keep it civil and sane and fun. And Mark?
Flat.
Yeah.